definitely tell a change in everyone's attitude today.
A Kentucky woman on vacation in Florida tells us what she's seeing along the coast as people there prepare for Hurricane Matthew.
White Kentucky House Speaker Greg Stumbo says he's formed an investigative committee against the governor of the state.
Lexington police have a warning tonight about a troubling trend they've noticed recently around the city.
This is WKYT News at 6.
Good evening to you. They are preparing for the worst. Tonight, people from Florida to the Carolinas are bracing for powerful Hurricane Matthew.
Right now, the storm is moving through the Bahamas. It's being blamed for at least 11 deaths in the Caribbean. Thousands of people on barrier islands in Florida and South Carolina have already been ordered to move inland. Florida's governor said today that state could be facing its biggest evacuation ever.
We have less than 24 hours left to prepare, evacuate, and shelter. Having a plan in place could mean the difference between life and death when it comes to a storm of this magnitude.
Also today, federal emergency leaders began moving supplies to the southeast as part of the response to the hurricane. An eastern Kentucky woman has been on vacation along the Atlantic coast of South Florida this week, and today she talked to us about how she's preparing for Hurricane Matthew. WKYT's Caitlin Setner has our top story at 6.
It's quite interesting to hear people at the stores.
Jennifer Eisen is far from home preparing to weather the storm headed toward Florida.
You know, some people were pretty calm about it. Other people were, talking about the hurricane parties and make sure don't forget your batteries and don't forget your margaritas.
She's staying at Boynton Beach. It's south of West Palm. Wednesday, the weather, she says, has been really pretty.
So this is the intercoastal down here, and I can hear some people across the way. There's some mobile homes across over here, and I can hear some people hammering and getting their shutters put on.
But she says as the storm nears Florida's coastline, activity around her condo has changed.
I can definitely tell a change in everyone's attitude today, considering that we're just a day out from it.
Eisen is a little nervous, though. Florida's governor has said Hurricane Matthew will be devastating, and this Kentuckian has seen devastation when West Liberty was hit during the 2012 tornado.
We went to the basement, and we were down there for a while, and when we came out of there, our home didn't seem to suffer any damage, so we didn't know the extent of what had happened until we drove around the neighborhood and started seeing all these trees down. And then the phrase that will stick with me forever was, "Town is gone. Town is gone."
For now, Eisen says she's just doing what she can. She's closing her shutters and weathering the storm with family.
I'll just be locked in tight here. I should be okay.
Caitlin Setner, WKYT.
Well, we hope so. Kentucky Utilities and its sister company, Louisville Gas and Electric, are sending crews to Florida to try and help with hurricane relief. The companies are sending more than 140 contractor, line technicians, tree trimmers, and other support staff. Now, once they arrive in Florida, they'll take part in pre-staging activities, and they'll be assigned to hard-hit areas to help make repairs once the storms pass through. Hurricane Matthew is having some travel impact here in Kentucky. Allegiant Air Flight 1702 from Fort Lauderdale to Lexington and Allegiant Flight 1703 from Lexington to Fort Lauderdale have both been canceled for tomorrow. Allegiant says the flights will not be rescheduled. Bluegrass Airport leaders say they're not aware of any other storm-related cancellations or delays at this point.
WKYT Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey's been keeping a close eye on Hurricane Matthew. At 5, you gave us that sort of bird's eye perspective of where it might come up the coast, but it's so hard to really predict just yet, right?
Yeah, and people get really caught up on exactly where the eye of a hurricane is going to be, but when it is going to be so close to land, you don't want to take any chances with that because the storm, the hurricane force winds extend well out beyond the eye of the storm. But this is going to go right up the east coast of Florida. Here's a look at where this storm is right now, and it again is a Category 3, 120 miles per hour with sustained winds, and that will continue to be a Category 3, if not strengthening back into a 4. That's the official forecast from the National Hurricane Center that takes it across the Bahamas and right toward the east coast of Florida, where hurricane warnings are out all the way up to Daytona Beach. Hurricane watch is out beyond that, could be upgraded to a warning at any time. And you can see now the official forecast does take this as a landfalling hurricane, and look what happens after that. It tries to head towards Savannah and Charleston, then the forecast kind of curls it back around, and it may try to re-loop and head toward the Bahamas. Back here in Kentucky, that storm is not going to have a direct impact on our weather, though we are dealing with, in the short term, some very, very nice stuff. It's warm and it is windy this evening, and that'll carry us for the next few days. But guys, when I come back here in about 10 minutes from now, we're going to focus on our forecast here, and we're never going to let you down with that. For the weekend, it turns cooler, but we will also give you that bird's eye view again of what it looks like on a computer simulation of when this hurricane comes ashore on the east coast of Florida. Fairly dramatic in just a few minutes.
A Democratic state representative claims Governor Matt Bevin threatened him in a voicemail. And tonight, House Speaker Greg Stumbo announced an investigative committee will look into that claim. 5 state House members will make up that committee. Hillary Thornton has more on the investigation and what the governor said about it.
Investigate what the true facts are.
House Speaker Greg Stumbo announcing the formation of an investigative committee looking into what he is calling potentially illegal actions by Governor Matt Bevin.
I can't sit by and allow these serious matters to go unlooked at.
The governor's office immediately responding.
Very, very, very desperate people pull stunts like Speaker Stumbo just did.
Some of those accusations surrounding an alleged December meeting at the governor's mansion in which they say Governor Bevin made threats to a representative asking him to switch political parties.
I've been in every single one of those meetings, never any threat whatsoever.
Speaker Stumbo saying, however, the most troubling is the delay in the East Brandon Road project, that project falling in Representative Russ Meyer's district. Russ Meyer being one of the representatives who has reported threats from the governor.
The whole scenario of taking projects in retaliation, wasting taxpayers' money, it's a very serious allegation.
While Speaker Stumbo says this committee is not political, the governor's office is saying differently, especially considering the time of this launch and the possible impacts here at the Capitol.
This is a political farce, what is happening here. We are 34 days from an election.
The governor's office strongly denying all these claims, releasing this video with what they say is a voicemail left by Speaker Stumbo to a Republican member of the new committee.
Tried to coerce legislators. I don't know if he did or if he did, but because of legislative independence, David, I think we at least ought to take a look at it and, see what happened. I'm sure the story's probably not as bad as maybe it was portrayed.
At the Capitol, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
Stumbo says this is not an impeachment committee, but a fact-finding committee. However, he says depending on their findings, this could all result in criminal charges.
It is a troubling trend. Tonight, Lexington police say they've noticed a large increase in the number of cars stolen in the city so far this year. And they say they've noticed a recent spike in items being stolen from cars. As Garrett Weimer tells us new at 6, police have some advice they say could keep you from becoming a victim.
In nearly half of the reports investigators have gotten about stolen cars in recent months, police say the suspect had a key to the car. The bottom line, they want people to know that the crime is largely preventable. Police say in the last 3 months, they've seen about 100 more stolen cars compared to the same time frame last year. At the same time, police say they've seen a fewer number of thefts from cars compared to last year, but the number did spike in September with more than 300 reports. And of the 262 cars reported stolen, police say the thieves had keys to them in 110 of those cases.
When they leave a key in that car and that car is stolen as a result, they put themselves under strain. So like I said before, all these crimes, not all of them, but a good percentage of these crimes can be prevented, and not with a hyper paranoia vigilance, but just in the sense of keeping your keys in a safe place.
Police say the thefts aren't just concentrated in 1 or 2 areas. They say they're happening all over the city. Just another reason to lock your cars and take with you any valuables, including your keys. We'll break down the numbers further coming up tonight on WKYT News at 11. In Lexington, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
And this reminder, with winter coming up, police say it is not a good idea to idle your car to warm it up if you're not inside it.
It's a mystery. What caused the death of a Central Kentucky woman? Tonight, police say they still don't have the answers days after finding 22-year-old Desiree Sparks' body. She had been reported missing from Danville before being found dead in Lincoln County. As Victor Puente tells us, state police are now looking for some surveillance video that they hope will provide clues.
Kentucky State Police are looking for a specific vehicle as part of this investigation. West Shelby Street here in Junction City is one of the places where they hope someone has surveillance video around the time Desiree Sparks went missing. Sparks was last seen alive September 27th near Citation Drive in Danville. The 22-year-old's body was found over the weekend in a field in a remote part of Lincoln County. State police say they have information she may have been with a man in a dark-colored Jeep Liberty or Patriot.
Basically trying to build a timeline if we can identify that she was in that vehicle.
Which is why they're asking people in 2 counties to see if they have surveillance video that could help their investigation. Police say they're looking for video from September 27th from homes or businesses along US 127 near Citation Drive in Danville, along 127 between Danville and Junction City, and along West Shelby Street in Junction City. It shows those roads between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. They're also looking for surveillance video that shows Highway 698 in Lincoln County between September 27th and October 1st when Sparks was found.
Preferably something that would show the highway in those areas so we can then more specifically shows a vehicle matching that description, hopefully.
Sparks' cause of death still hasn't been released. There was an autopsy performed Sunday, but Kentucky State Police say how she died is still under investigation. In Boyle County, Victor Puente, WKYT.
McKnight Funeral Home in Crab Orchard will be handling Sparks' arrangements. Her family is raising money to help pay for her funeral.
We have some new information tonight about a man found dead inside a burning Whitley County home. According to the Corbin News Journal, investigators say 62-year-old Dennis Barton died of natural causes that had nothing to do with the fire, but they say they're still not sure what caused the fire on Highway 26 in Woodbine last week.
A phone causing a plane in Louisville to be evacuated when the device suddenly started smoking. You'll hear from the phone's owner next.
And then just in time for the fall meet, Keeneland has a new award for horse owners who reach a big milestone.
New tonight, we are hearing from a man whose phone caused a scare on board a Southwest Airlines plane in Louisville today.
Brian Green says he had just boarded the plane for a flight to Baltimore when he powered down his Samsung Galaxy Note 7, but he soon realized something was wrong with the phone.
And a few seconds later, I heard some popping that sounded like a Ziploc bag popping open, and looked around to see what that was, and there was smoke just billowing, pouring out of my pocket. I pulled it out of my pocket and threw it on the ground real quick, and it continued to smoke for about 4 or 5 seconds heavily.
Well, the plane was evacuated and no one was injured. It was still at the gate at the time. Southwest says the plane was not damaged. Green says he never saw flames coming out of the phone and it did not explode. He says this phone was the replacement Galaxy Note 7 he received after Samsung recalled the original version he had because of the risk of explosions and fires.
Frightening. It is not fall in the Bluegrass without Keeneland, and the annual fall meet begins there on Friday. Keeneland is celebrating its 80th anniversary of racing, and today the track unveiled its newest milestone trophy, the Keeneland Vase. Handcrafted by Tiffany, the 24-karat gold vase will go to owners whose horses have won 32 stakes races at Keeneland. Also, the UK football Keeneland shuttle will return on Saturday. Lextran will offer a shuttle between Commonwealth Stadium and Keeneland for just $1 each way.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
Hope you're having a great Wednesday downhill toward the weekend, and for a lot of kids, it's spring break or fall break time across central and eastern Kentucky. My days, we only got spring break, huh? You guys have it lucky nowadays. Let's look outside, see how we're starting off in a lot of cases. Fayette County, that fall break that is upon us now over the next few days. We have a mix of sun and some clouds. Notice more clouds on the E-Town cam than showing up on the Jackson cam, the Moorhead cam, and down into Corbin. So central western parts of the area with a little more in the way of ice crystal clouds, so another fantastic sunset is in the making. Upper 70s to low 80s this afternoon. Your Defender radar network, no precipitation locally, though we've got those high clouds to our west. Cold front number 1 is out there. Cold front behind that is going to be the real deal that arrives this weekend. It's not going to turn cold, it's going to turn colder. We'll drop it from the 80s into the 60s for highs over the weekend. Tomorrow, you get another day of likely 80-degree high temperatures. Hour-by-hour forecast will take us toward the changes for the weekend. Then we'll focus on Hurricane Matthew. And this model continues to show upper 70s to low 80s tomorrow afternoon. Let's go into Thursday night and Friday morning. 50s, but notice a little more cloud cover here across the southeast. So we've got to watch eastern Kentucky late Friday afternoon into Friday night for the possibility for a scattered shower way out ahead of our hurricane, not directly associated with Matthew. Into the day on Saturday, here comes our cold front into town. We'll spike it up into the 60s, and then as the front passes through here, winds will really gust up. Could have some gusts 25 to 30 miles per hour, and by the afternoon and evening, that's a chilly wind that is blowing. By 7, 8 o'clock, we're dropping it into the low and mid 50s during that time. Matthew is reorganizing. This is likely to strengthen significantly over the next several hours, and I suspect when you check back with us tonight at 11, we could be looking at Matthew approaching Category 4 status yet again. It is a Category 3, 120 miles per hour. Hurricane warnings are up now for much of the east coast of Florida. This is going to deliver a big blow to the Bahamas, and I think right up the east coast of Florida, where you have those hurricane warnings. Forecast for this is to make landfall as a Category 4 with winds approximately 130 miles per hour. From there, may do a little loop just off the Carolinas. We shared this with you at 5 o'clock. Let's give you a bird's eye view from a computer model of this hurricane coming ashore. Now keep in mind, we're on the coast of Florida. We're looking out into the Atlantic here. Here you see Nassau and the Bahamas way in the distance. So the eye of that hurricane, watch our timeline here, runs the coast toward Cape Canaveral, the Titusville area, up into Daytona Beach. By the time we go into Friday afternoon, here's Daytona, and then watch how this just hugs the coast right up into the towards Savannah and Georgia, maybe Hilton Head showing up here as well with that eye of the storm just offshore. Here's Tybee Island, there's the Hilton Head area, and from there it tries to make a beeline toward Charleston and eventually maybe impacting Myrtle Beach as well. Here's Myrtle Beach, there's the Conway area, and again we're looking out into the Atlantic, and that storm is right on top of the South Carolina coastline by the time we get into late Friday night and Saturday. Guys, no impact on our weather. We'll see temperatures chilling down this weekend. Tonight at 11, the very latest from Matthew and Florida.
Sure. I just heard from a friend trying to get out of South Carolina. They have been on the highway for 6 hours.
Wow.
Traffic's that bad.
Yeah, and they've got all outbound lanes going now.
Thanks, Chris.
Well, just ahead, the Cats quarterback must protect the ball.
What is it that Steven Johnson must realize after he takes that snap from center? And the latest point guard to come in under Cal. We'll hear from De'Aaron Fox. Sports is up next. Quarterback Steven Johnson will make his third start of the season Saturday when Vanderbilt comes into Commonwealth Stadium. Ball security has been an issue against Alabama. Johnson fumbled 3 times, lost 2. He's fumbled 5 times on the season. Quarterbacks coach Darren Hinshaw chalks it up to Johnson, still thinking he can make something out of nothing.
He reverted back to some of his JC days where he could take off and run and make people miss and stiff arm, and that's great. In junior college, not at Alabama. We can't do that, and he's got to learn to go down. He's got to learn to throw the ball away and not take shots in certain situations. And as long as he continues to learn that, we're going to keep progressing at quarterback.
And the Cats face pretty much what you would think is a must-win situation this weekend if they're to make it to a bowl game. 4 o'clock kickoff on the SEC Network. Our look at the UK basketball Wildcats continues this evening. Brian Milam puts the spotlight on point guard De'Aaron Fox.
De'Aaron Fox is the latest in a long line of point guards to grab the reins of a John Calipari coached team. Cal calls Fox the general.
It was pretty cool. I mean, the first time I actually heard it was Cal's interview, and then he actually texted me. He told me, he texted me before that and told me that's what he wanted to call me. And it was pretty cool just because the way he explained it to me, and I actually got it, so it really stuck well.
Fox played quarterback in high school, and so it seems fitting he can distribute the basketball on the court and apparently do things with it his new teammates have not seen.
I've always been able to just put the ball in tight spots, even if it has to do with throwing a bounce pass and spinning it to where it has to go around someone. I've just always been able to do that type of stuff. And when I first came here, I don't think they were used. They didn't know that's what I could do, because I did it a few times and people were kind of like looking around like how to get there.
Fox, like many others, was recruited by nearly every school in the country. Why come to Kentucky?
Kentucky just stood out. I mean, Cal's had a lot of guys like me, and when I say like me, I mean like highly ranked in high school. And I knew I was going to come here and nothing was going to be given to me. I had to work for everything, so that was the main thing that really stood out to me.
Since coming to UK, John Calipari has been to 4 Final Fours, 2 national title games, and he's won a national crown by recruiting the best. Fox wants to add to that resume and his own.
Every time we step on the court, we know we have a chance to win the game, and we want to win a national championship. And I feel like, you know, if you're winning a championship and everyone's playing well, you know, everybody's going to get what they want.
Covering the Cats, I'm Brian Milam, WKYT.
And again, as we told you in the last half hour, Hall of Fame high school coach Bobby Keith passed away this afternoon. Keith led Clay County to the state tournament 18 times. He was an amazing 18-1 in regional championship games. Clay County captured the 1987 Sweet 16 title. Keith spent 29 seasons on the Clay County bench. His record, 767 wins, 125 losses. He was inducted into the Kentucky Athletic Hall of Fame in 2009. Bobby Keith, so much a part of the basketball fabric of this state. We'll be right back.
Coming up on the CW Lexington, I just got off the phone with a couple from Lexington being evacuated from South Carolina. We'll talk about how bad that situation is.
And I'll see you back at 11.